Alright, let's do this one last time. Hello everybody, we are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo and this is my forever co-host Jum, and back in 2018 we were bitten by a radioactive movie called Into the Spider-Verse. Since then our lives have changed, we are both working boys and we both have other stuff going on, but like once in a while we sit down here to do a podcast, and now we come full circle because today we're talking about Across the Spider-Verse. Now on to the real show.
I was not ready for that. You told me zero, zero information for the intro.
Yeah.
Alright.
I hope you guys like that intro because we're moving on to the first question of the day, which is obviously you were excited, so there's no real point.
That was fucking shit. Like, we waited 5 years
for this
to
movie.
get this movie. Yeah. Like, your newly born brother or sister is 5 years old now ever since the last one came out.
Yeah. And like honestly, like I honestly thought I would never see this movie because of how the things that happened between 2018 and now. I was like, you know what, maybe movies don't exist anymore. Maybe we'll never see Spider-Man 2099 ever in a big screen, aside from the after credits of the last one. But yeah, like slowly through like 2020 and 2021, they were like, here's the cast, here's some trailers, and here's some bits of the story. But we were like, what does the Spider-Man have against Miles? Like, you saw the first trailer and you're like, oh cool, Spider-Man 2099. Why is he attacking Miles? What gives?
Yeah. But like, well, why is he hunting him down? And also, why is he so goddamn big?
Right? Like, I could have sworn he must have eaten a lot of protein when he traveled back to the 60s. Because, like, he's huge. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Huge. I guess like protein is built different in the 60s.
Yeah.
Probably some cocaine in there, I don't know.
And like the directors and writers said they wanted to show what animation can do. Like stretch it to its limits, and they show it here. Like at the beginning, you see Gwen Stacy's universe, Spider-Gwen's universe, and it's all like watercolored, and it's such a visually pleasing look, and you're like, oh, this is an improvement. Like, not that the first one was ever bad to begin with, but this is like an upgrade to like the visuals and the animation, and you're like, I'm in for a treat with this movie.
Yeah, like you could tell the difference between her world compared to Miles.
Yeah,
like Miles is very comic book as there's a lot of like what do you call that, dots that you have in comic books? I forgot what you call those.
yeah.
But yeah, his is very comic book esque, while Gwen is watercolored and emotionally driven world. So if the scene is intense or sad or anything, the background will adjust to the situation, kind of giving us a visualizing cue to be like, oh, sad moment.
Yeah.
Oh, happy moment. You know,
Yeah.
it's not in your face, but it's very like gives the world, her world, more character compared to like well, not comparing, kind of like how we have with the Indian Spider-Man. While his world is very like upbeat, kind of same as Miles. But yeah, I do appreciate the different styles of like backgrounds, depending on each character.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that shit for sure. This is why it took 5 years for them to make. Also, another reason, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, and with Gwen Stacy, we discover, or like we see more character development. Like you see where she starts being more, like from the get go in the last movie, we knew that she was closed off. Like she doesn't really do friends ever since her Peter Parker died because he became the Lizard and was tragically killed. Which like again is very comic accurate. Like this entire series like keeps hinting at like events in the comics, and like there's a good reason for that, which we'll get to later. And like I just seeing something come to life from like the panels of a comic book, and you're just like, I've read this moment. I don't like this moment, but I've read it. And like you see the repercussions of that, like the police forces after her because they believe she killed Peter Parker. And like I love how in every universe Joe Jonah Jameson is voiced by J.K. Simmons. You're like, you know what, that makes sense, why not? There's only one standard in this universe, and that's J.K. Simmons. I mean, in this multiverse. But, like, same as before, like, there's a villain out of universe, and they have to put him back. But she doesn't know it, because she's like, oh, you're like a weird Renaissance person. You must be from a weird Renaissance time in another universe. And he's like, yes. Why am I here? What is this ugly
Yeah.
art? And she's like, well,
he's in the Louvre and they're fine.
yeah,
And then, oh fuck, yeah, it was a cool scene seeing like how Gwen's like chemistry between her and her father being the captain
yeah,
of the police department, who is after her.
yeah.
But yeah, I like as they go on with the fight, they're like, this is not bad. We're getting back to where we started, and then we see O'Hara, and I'm like,
Miguel O'Hara just screams cool, like the size, the claws, the wings. You're like, holy fuck,
dude, what the, like, why does he have omega beams for webs?
right?
What is that? It's like, it like goes in different directions instead of straight. I was like,
Right?
that's so fucking sick. And my friend who's not really into comic books, but he loves movies. He saw Miguel O'Hara and he was like, gave me the look like. I was like, who's he? I'm like, I'll tell you all about him.
We're also introduced to Spider-Woman, who's played by Issa Rae, and like, of course, Miguel O'Hara's what's his name?
Kind of
Oscar Isaac.
right hand man kind of deal.
Yeah, Spider-Woman's the right-hand person, and like Miguel O'Hara is voiced once again by Oscar Isaac, which is funny because in the last movie you're like, oh, I guess it's just like a one-off thing. We'll never see him
Yeah.
as Spider-Man 2099 again, and like you see him in this movie, you're like, perfect fit. Like once again, Oscar Isaac being like another cool Marvel hero, his what, third Marvel hero or character at this point.
Yeah, he was Apocalypse. Now he's Moon Knight. Now he's also Miguel O'Hara.
Yeah, and like Gwen Stacy's caught in a dilemma because her father discovers who she is and he has to arrest her, and then Spider-Woman's like, hey, we can't just leave her. She's gonna be all by herself and she needs help. And she's one of the reasons why we're chasing down these interdimensional beings. He's like, alright, fine. And like, before that, Miguel is blaming Gwen of like, oh, you're the one who left the hole in the multiverse. And like, you caused all this madness, especially with the nerd Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Caused their own madness, and you're the one who started this shit. And you're like, I wonder if they're going to tie this all together some way, somehow. Like, will Tom Holland make an appearance in the last one?
Oddly enough, we didn't get to see like a hit of Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Well, like skipping a little bit ahead because it's not really a big part. You see
Andrew Garfield.
examples of different different Spider-Man. Like there's Andrew Garfield with Tobey Maguire, but you don't see Tom Holland in there.
Yeah. And
But
like,
you do see a character from that world though.
yeah.
We'll get there when we get there, but yeah.
Yeah. And then Gwen comes along with them, and then we go to Miles' world, and you see how he's progressed. He's an efficient and effective Spider-Man. Like, he's grown since then. He also has like a sweet new costume, and like his friend is like playing Spider-Man PS4, and you're just like, this is just so
You
meta.
noticed it too. I had to like nudge my fingers like he's playing Spider-Man PS4.
And then we get what you kind of assume at first is the villain of the week, which is the Spot, and you're like, such a weird fucking villain. Why is he here?
Yeah, I like him though. Like I love his voice. I love his character. I forgot who plays him, but he's really great.
I think it's Jason Schwartzman. I think that's how you say his name.
Jason Schwartzman. All right, that makes sense. The guy from Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Well, he was great. But yeah, we thought like, oh, there's just the villain that Spider-Man fights to show us that he has grown, and we get to the real big problem, which is Miguel. This is what the trailers have told us. Little did we know that the villain of the week is the problem.
Yeah. And like, before he throws him away, he tells Miles like, oh, you created me, I created you. Like, I'm the one of the scientists here. You fucking threw a bagel at me. How dare you?
Knowing the fact that everything everywhere all at once and Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse all started because of a goddamn bagel.
Did you see the billboard for like, there's a small billboard of like everything everywhere all at once. And you're like, huh, connective tissue. I like it.
I guess the directors are friends.
Yeah. I do love the parent student parent meeting with like the, I don't know what you call them, like the guidance counselor, when she's like, "Oh, Miles, his grades are pretty good except for Spanish," and his mom's like, "Fucking
What?
what?" His dad's like, "Are you trying to kill your mom? Are you fucking kidding me, bro?"
Not gonna lie, homie, we both suck at Tagalog. So I wasn't like, I wasn't like that. I was like, I feel like I would disappoint my parents as well.
But yeah, but like you see how Miles's dad is trying to get to know him more ever since like the last movie. He's still trying to get to know him, but it's difficult because Miles is a growing lad and like he's trying to connect with him. But ever since the spider thing, he's like just so hard to find something to talk about. And like Spider-Man, well, Miles is like, maybe you gotta let him spread his wings, and the dad's like, "What the fuck are you telling me how to parent?"
Yeah. No, but it's mostly because the discussion that they had in the parent teacher conference was, oh, he wants to take up another, he wants to go to another school in New Jersey, but their parents, they all want it here in Brooklyn,
Yeah,
and so they're like, stay in Brooklyn for the rest of your life, stay here so we can keep eyes on you,
yeah,
kind of deal. When what he wants to learn is outside of Brooklyn. And they're like, no, New Jersey's too far away. By the way, if anyone hasn't been to New Jersey or New York or seen a map, New Jersey's not that far.
yeah. But Miles tries to make it up with cakes, but he keeps getting distracted while his father's getting his party for being promoted to
To
captain.
Captain.
Yeah,
Ooh. You okay?
sorry, something got in my throat. But yeah, he gets in real big trouble because he's late and his father had to give a speech without him. And he's like, "Oh, thanks for embarrassing me. What's up with you?" He's like,
Mm.
I got issues. He's like, "What issues? Why can't we talk?" He's like, "It's none of your business. It's whatever." And his mom's like, "Oh, okay, whatever. I guess you're
By the way-
grounded. That's what's ever." Like,
Ooh.
"Oh, okay."
Uh, by the way, I wanted to mention that the fight between him and Spot is fucking disorienting, but also amazing.
Yeah,
Like, like I don't know how the coordinator for the animation did it, but I was like, I would have thrown up looking at that board if I ever saw the storyboard for this one fucking scene.
right.
Like, all right,
Then, like, after Miles gets grounded, we get Spot, like, discovering his alter dimension abilities. Like, he can travel to Venom's world, can go to Lego world. And, like, he's the myth.
you remember like he ran into the lady
Yeah,
in the Venom world? It's like, you're not weirded out by this? A guy going in and out of dimensions. It seems like this is your regular Tuesday, but you just see her face just like experiencing people getting their heads bitten off right in front of her because of Venom.
yeah. It's like, man, there are two weird aliens biting people's heads off. One of them's already dead, but, like, the remaining one still does it. Why should I be weirded out? You don't even
Yeah.
have a Venom voice, so why should I be scared? Fuck off.
So like, and then he like goes into the Lego world. It's just a simple line, but it made me laugh so fucking hard.
I wonder if they couldn't dwell on it longer because Warner Bros. Is like, that belongs to us. The property
Yeah.
for movies, at least.
Yeah, technically Lego does belong to them,
Yeah.
and I guess they own a little share because they are using Spider-Man,
Yeah.
so they own a little bit of like, hey, you got 10 seconds. Do with what you know what you can.
Yeah.
But as soon as like Lego Spider-Man sees that, he's like, "Hey Miguel, there's a thing here." Miguel's like, "Thanks, you're our best asset." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
I also love the moment when Spot's like, "I need more holes. The holes give me powers." The construction guy's like, "Man, you're making me uncomfortable talking about your fucking holes."
Like holes. It's like, "Oh, sorry." Go on with your day.
And then we head back to Miles, and then we get that scene at the end of Into the Spider-Verse where Gwen's like, "Hi, Miles, want to get out of here?" And he's like, "How are you here? How
Yeah.
and when and why?" But it doesn't matter to Miles because he's madly in love with Gwen. And like, you're like, you know what?
Uh-huh.
You're who could blame you? And like she
Yeah.
does the thing where like, why is the toy in the box? And you're like, too
She
shy.
rips it out.
Yeah, you're too nice to say anything. You're like, ah.
Yeah,
You
I
know
know
what, that's
you're too in love with her just to like be mad.
fine. And then she
But it's
gets
just
the
yeah.
notebook scene of like, oh, are these your drawings? Ah, oh, okay. Missed you too. And Miles is just like, ha, ha, yes, I missed you. Fuck. Uh,
By the way, just to all you nerds and geeks out there, because I am one of you. Don't do that. Don't draw your crush on your notebook. He's Spider-Man. He can do it because he's Spider-Man. If you're not Spider-Man, that's just weird.
and then we get just more examples of how great the animation has become with them just swinging across the city through stuff that she explains like, oh, I'm part of the Spider Society. I met great people like Miguel, Jessica, and what's his name? Hobie. He's like, who's Hobie? It's like, oh, okay, Miles, calm down.
Yeah. He just lets me crash at his place from time to time, and he's like, "What?"
I love the scene when they're hanging up upside down because like such a beautiful shot, like, and the attention to details, like when you see their faces, they're still upside down, but it's the right view for you, and you're like,
Yeah.
the amount
But
of
I'm
details.
gonna lie,
insane.
when every time the animation does that, where they're like right side up and then they go upside down, and the camera follows, I'm like.
But before that,
I'm not a person to get motion sick, but this movie almost got me.
well, like Gwen just shoots something to spy on the spot, and you're like, oh, that's why you're here. It's for first, it's for the spot, and like no, first it's for Miles, and then the spot, and then
Yeah.
they have a moment of like, in every universe, Spider-Man ends up with Gwen Stacy, and in every universe, it never ends up right.
And
Something.
well,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then Miles is like, well, maybe there's an exception, and you're like,
Yeah.
good lad.
Hey.
Hey. And then that's when she meets the parents, and you're like, oh, this is awkward. How do you explain this? But they're cool. And you're like, oh,
Are you sure? Because first time seeing a girl in your room. Oh wait, no, that was later on. My
Yeah.
bad, my bad. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
and
It
the
was-
water tower, and there's like, hey, what's up? You must be Gwanda. And she's like, hey, yeah, I am the Gwanda he speaks of. You're like, interesting.
Yeah, but I do like this movie because, yeah, Gwen leaves because she has to do something, and then Miles has this talk with his mom where this is pretty much them being like, "Oh, you should go." They're like, it's not just hey, go after the girl. It's also like, do what you feel like is right for you, which is go to New Jersey, go to that university you always wanted to go to, learn the things you always wanted to learn. And
Yeah.
it is a powerful moment between mother and son.
Yeah.
It made me miss my mom while I was watching the movie. I'm like, man.
Like, I don't know, like I don't mean to rag on like the MCU again, but like, since we're talking about insect-related heroes, like, this is like pales in comparison, or like Ant-Man and the Wasp pales in comparison to this moment right here, where it's like there's not even a heartfelt moment between Scott, Evangeline, or their kids. You're just like, oh, we're just going through funny bits all the time, and like it just ruins the characters. But here, it's such a heartfelt character, and just develops the mom more, develops Miles more, and you're like, such a tender and sweet moment, and you're like, you know what? I like moments like this when the comic book movies can do this, especially now with animated stuff. You're like, how come an animated movie do this better than, Thor: Love and Thunder or Ant-Man: Quantumania?
Well, I mean, you can't really bump it down to like, hey, this is a cartoon, this is live action. Why can't you do it better than the cartoon? Well, I say, in my opinion, both mediums are on equal footing. It really depends on the story.
Yeah,
Here, I guess it took 5 years for them to make.
yeah, that's true.
So it was enough time to marinate, enough time to mend every bits of story together in a, nice little bow. While I feel like Thor and Ant-Man were kind of like fast food. Like this is fine dining of cinema. While Thor: Love and Thunder and Ant-Man and the Wasp is just McDonald's drive-thru.
That's true. Speaking of heartfelt or like things that make you feel feelings, was your heart sinking when Gwen was like realized she fucked up with a spot and like I can't ever see Miles again? She says goodbye to Miles and you're just like, fuck, Jesus Christ.
Man.
We're not even halfway through the movie.
And then Miles is just like right in front of her because he's in like invisible mode.
Yeah.
But it was like you just see the heartbroken face on it. It was just
It's like, man, we're not even halfway through the movie, and you're making me feel things.
I was like, talk about long distance relationship. But like, yeah.
Yeah. And then Spider-Woman was like, all right, this is your last chance. Go after the spot. Otherwise, I'll have to call Miguel on this. And she's like, all right. She goes to the dimension, and so does Miles, and they end up in Mumbat with Provocator, voiced by the guy, the Deadpool's buddy in the movies.
Yeah. Bunhood.
Yeah. I love his introduction. It's like, oh, this is where the traffic is. This is also where the traffic is. This is where the British stole our stuff. I think I was the only one laughing in the cinema. I was like, oh, okay.
Same here. Because well, actually, no. Me and all my friends, we all like watch like Indian cinema as of recent, and they do like to rag on like the British colonizers. So when you saw that, we all kind of laughed at the same time.
And like he has his own Captain Stacy and his own Gwen Stacy,
or Mary Jane, either one.
Either one.
Yeah.
And like they have to find the spot who's in Alchemex. Oh, before that, did you like the tea bit? The chai chai?
Ah, yeah, the chai tea. But it's just pretty much people just saying tea.
Yeah. But yeah, they have to go to Alchemex and like they have to try to stop Mr. Spot from destroying this whole universe or claiming more spots for themselves. And like Miles is trying to get through, and then out comes Hobie, and you're like, Jesus Christ, this is the coolest Spider-Man I've ever seen in my life.
It wasn't really my favorite suit in Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah.
But Hobie was fucking cool.
Yeah.
And he's voiced by Get Out.
Get Out? Daniel Kaluuya?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. That's why he sounds so familiar.
Yeah. I was like, shit, it's him. and like he could do like the electricity thing as well.
Yeah.
And
but you see with even like 4 spider people, like the Spot is surely more than a match for them. We're like, and at this point you're like, I really don't think you're the villain of a week no more. You're the main guy. The main threat.
But this is what this is what like Miles and the others were talking about, like trying to tell him as well, where they're like, hey, we're sorry, we didn't take you seriously. You're not just the villain of the week. He's the Spot is that guy you keep fucking with until he just fucking snaps. Yeah. And then we're like, we're sorry, we didn't. We'll take you more seriously now. And then he like, now you will. And he snaps like the web.
Yeah.
And he just goes into the darkness. I was like, oh.
Yeah, like when he's in like dark mode, you're like, that is fucking terrifying. Jesus
also
Christ.
really cool.
Yeah.
I hate the stats where like this.
Yeah. I was like,
but when he starts speaking, I'm like, okay, it's a little bit okay. He's funny.
Yeah. But like after the movie, I like Google searched him. I was like, yeah, Miles' first impression isn't wrong. I was like, oh, you're just some side villain of the week.
No. Yeah.
And like for this movie to be like, no, he's the guy that you should be afraid of. Like, okay. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, you know what? DC and Marvel are doing a great job to our spotted villains, like, Polka Dot Man, and now the Spot.
Yeah.
Doing them service.
And with Alchemex falling apart, like it destroys buildings, and like Provitor has to choose to save his girlfriend or the rest of the people on the bridge. But he's like, I can do both. And Miles does help him save Captain Singh, but like Gwen gets a notification of like, oh, this is a canon event, and like I was like, oh, he's supposed to die, or someone's supposed to die, but Miles is unknowingly messing it up through no fault of his own. He's just a good guy. That's what Spider-Man is. He like, I won't let someone die just because the canon says so.
Yeah, no, Miles is the epitome of the indomitable human spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no matter what, like, laws of physics, it won't stop him from doing the right thing.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that creates a vortex in this universe, and you're like, oh, shit.
I do love it that the Spider-Man group has a cleanup crew just
Yeah.
for that moment.
They have their own like shield thing too, and you're like, oh, I guess what Jessica Drew is. She's like, Maria Hill of this universe.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
Miles is brought to the Spider Society in Nueva, New York, 2099. And like you see, like if you thought the last movie had like too many Spider-Man, this will like overload. Of like Jesus Christ, everyone's in this.
Yeah, the Popsicle's there, Spooderman's there, Ultimate Spider-Man's there, and
Oh,
he
you
speaks.
notice? You notice Ultimate Spider-Man? I
Yeah!
fucking Ben Riley, voiced by Andy Samberg, fucking Jake Peralta. I was like in my mind, I was like, I know that voice. Why? And I just stuck to the characters like, oh, it's Andy Samberg. Jesus Christ.
It is a little bit of a shame because he is like a dark and brooding Spider-Man. He is supposed to be like somewhat Miguel O'Hara.
Yeah.
But that's where I thought Scarlet Spider was supposed to be at, but here it's more of like satire on the dark and emo, dark
Stuff.
and brooding
Yeah.
character.
Like the dark broodingness of the 90s. You're like, I see what you're doing. That's fine.
Yeah, it's just kind of a shame because that is my favorite Spider-Man suit.
And then,
But it still looks great. He still did a fine job, and I love it.
and then you go through the Hall of Villains. You're like, oh, here's a boring ass rhino. You're like, oh, that's a literal rhino. Cool. And then you see Donald Glover as the Prowler, and you're like, it's a shame I
Yep.
never got to see this in another Spider-Man sequel. But you know what? I'll settle for this one.
No, but like, did you see like the face on Miles? Like, can you like that's his uncle?
Yeah. That's why they're like, huh.
It's like, huh? So I read they're like, oh, there's this thing from what was this ugly thing from a video game?
Yeah.
And right behind it was Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah. Voiced by, again, Yuri Lowenthal. You're like, I'm getting my
Yeah.
Spider-Man fill right now, and it's amazing.
Please be again, people who's making Spider-Man, give us the old face back. Stop giving us this hybrid fucking Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, and Tobey
Tobey Maguire
Maguire
as
hybrid.
yeah, and then we meet Miguel O'Hara, and then he seems pretty chill at first, and you're like, you know what? For someone who's facing all these crises, oh, he just threw the taco at Miles. Never mind.
Taco Miles.
Yeah, he does a whiplash where just like okay, just throws it at him, and you're like, oh shit, so J.K.
Yeah.
Simmons all over again. And he's like,
And he's like coming down, like he has his back turned to them. It was
yeah.
like, I thought I was the only one who's gonna mention. I was like, this is oddly slow. And then Gwen like mentions it.
Like, yeah, it's always slow. And then from behind, you hear Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker being like, you know what, take it easy on the kid. He had a terrible mentor. And he has a kid of his own. You're like, ah, yes, I love the character growth of, like, crying in the bathroom to, like, oh, I have a kid now. Like, oh,
Yeah,
good for you.
he's
Peter.
doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Miguel tells Miles, like, because of your actions and because of the thing Kingpin did, this universe is in total flux and it's kind of your fault. He's like, what do you mean? Oh, and you disturbed a canon event, so the universe is more in flux. Let me fucking show you. And he's like, oh, it's the Spider-Verse. And he's like, that's a stupid name. It's the Arachno something something verse. And he's like, yeah, it is kind of stupid too.
Again, I do like it that when it came to Miguel O'Hara, they made him dark and brooding,
Yeah.
but also tastefully comedic in certain areas, like with the slow moving elevator that's like supposed to introduce him, and also that line. I was like, you know what? I'm glad they don't take it that seriously, but at the same time, Miguel O'Hara is a very serious character.
Yeah. And then he shows him like, oh, the canon event you mess up is the one that's vital to every Spider-Man, which is Captain Stacy's death. And you see like the first Spider-Man, they show us like Yuri Lowenthal's Spider-Man, like hovering over Captain Stacy, and then you see the rest, including Andrew Garfield's, and you're like, Jesus Christ, the amount of attention to detail in this fucking movie is amazing. But at the same time, it's really fucking sad because you see Gwen
is.
being like, oh, my dad's supposed to die. Fuck. And then Miles realizes like, oh, because the spot showed him like, oh, I'm gonna take everything from you, starting with your dad. And he's like, am I just supposed to let him die? And Miguel's like, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. Spider-Man has to go through these things. He's like, But why? Well, if I can't stop them, why do I have to go to him? Wouldn't you stop Uncle Ben from being killed? And then Peter's like, yeah, but without Uncle Ben, none of us would be here. And then they show all the Uncle Bens and all the Peters crying over him, even Toby's ugly crying face. You're like, huh.
No offense to Toby.
No offense to Toby.
We miss you.
Yeah. And then Miles starts being surrounded by all the spider people, and you're like, oh, they're trying to stop him. Alright. Even Penny Parker's like, I'm sorry, man. It's the way it has to be. Even, what's the cartoon Spider-Man? Ultimate, right?
Ultimate.
Yeah.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
That was a trip of being like my eyes had to adjust. I'm like, oh my god, my childhood.
No, for me, I lost my shit when I saw Ultimate Spider-Man. But my friends were like, who's that? No, I thought it was just a regular cartoon Spider-Man. But I was like, no, it's childhood. It's what I used to watch. So good. Such a good, such a good, like, callback to all the Spider-Man that we've seen.
Yeah. And then, like, Miguel traps Miles in the web, and, like, they're all discussing what to do with Miles, and then Hobie's just like, use your palms. And you're like, alright, I really like Hobie. And Miles is
Oh yeah, we kind of glossed over Hobie. Like, Hobie is like this British
anarchist.
rock, like, yeah, anarchist, listens to the Clash kind of guy.
Fuck the establishment. You're like, okay, I
Yeah.
feel like, it'd been weird if, like, he would be like, yeah, I go along with this plan. That would have been, like, a total, like, 180 for some weird reason. But, like, I love the fact that they're like, no, this guy's like, fuck you, fuck y'all. Let Miles be free.
Like, you know, like, you saw that Hobie, like, kind of saw what's coming up. And he was like, I'm not going to be part of this. Ciao. And, like, he pieces out.
Yeah. And then Miles escapes, and then Miguel's like, oh, we're hunt down Spider-Man. We get the meme times 100. Like, oh,
everybody's just like,
And then we get Spider-Man 2199. He's like, what? Do I have web on my face? And he's like, turn around. He's behind you, fool. They all start chasing him. The cat starts chasing him. Fucking Spider Rexy starts chasing him. You're like, how many spider variants are there in this fucking building?
it seems like they got everyone.
Yeah.
Besides Miles.
Fucking Red Dead Spider-Man also gives a chase. You're like, Jesus Christ, poor Miles. Then, like, he lands on another floor, and then one of the Spider-Man's like, there's no escape. You can't escape all of us. And he just crashes through the window. He's like, I guess he can escape all of us.
And then, like, Metro Boomin, Spider-Man was like, oh well.
Oh well.
He's the black and white one with the dreads.
Oh, that's him? Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine. Okay.
He had his own Spider-Man, like, come in. So that was cool.
Speaking of Metro Boomin, it's a pretty good soundtrack.
It is a really good soundtrack. You gotta listen to the one where he had Homelander. Like, yeah. I'll send it to you later. Let me look up the album.
Okay. But yeah. Miles is escaping to Nueva New York, and like Peter stops him for a bit. It's like, man, you have to stop running. Like, it's not that.
Sorry. Heroes and Villains. That's the name of the album. And he like took that bit of Homelander where he's like I'm done. Like, you need me.
Oh,
you need
I'm
me
better
to
than
save
you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, I'm going insane.
Okay.
It hits hard. It hits hard.
Okay. But yeah, Peter's like, I forgot what he tells him. It's like, you know what? It's because of you. I have a kid. You are something special. Like, he's talking to him, and then his signal goes off, and Miles is like, oh, I see how it is. Fucking backstabber. He's like, Peter's like, no, I didn't know. I'm sorry, Miles.
I know that it does suck because, like, before the chase happens, he kind of realizes that this is why Gwen brought him here.
Yeah.
Gwen didn't, like, want to see him again or have a good time with him. She wanted... She was supposed to bring him there because he was a problem. Because he had spider DNA from another universe in him. And he wasn't supposed to be.
The line of,
this
like...
Miles Morales wasn't supposed to be a Spider-Man.
His line of, like, you're right. You shouldn't have come to see me. You're like, oh, damn. Miles, why?
Yeah.
I get you, but at the same time, Gwen was just saying, what, fuck it. You're right, in a way.
Yeah. Stick to your heart. You don't need anyone.
And then you see how big Miguel O'Hara is while on the chase. You're like, Jesus Christ. I don't remember you being this big in any capacity. Not even the game. You're just like, oh, It's a Spider-Man with a nice skin on, not this beefy, fucking General Zod ass Spider-Man. You're like, Jesus Christ, I'm terrified of him.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I'm actually really scared of Miguel now. And like, knowing the fact that he doesn't have like the sticky, I think he has claws to do that. I'm like, damn, okay.
Right? And he starts chasing him up the train, and like Miles is doing his best to fight back, but Miguel starts. Miguel starts slamming him down to the ground. He's like talking shit. He's like, "You're not even supposed to be Spider-Man. It's all a mistake. You're the first anomaly." And you're like, take it easy on the guy, Jesus. I like
chill. Why are you projecting?
Like, I love the line of Miles being like, everybody keeps telling me how my life is supposed to go, but that's my decision to make. So I'm gonna do my own thing and just does the hey thing to Miguel and just flies down back to home quarters while Miguel has his own wings and he gives chase, and you're like, why is this man so scary again? Why?
Yeah. And then he sneaks his way into like the go home machine.
Yeah.
And he does like tap into his like DNA and then does bring him home.
Yeah.
I love that scene too where they're all trying to stop it. But you can tell that they're like, he is like, you can tell every Spider-Man's like, he's trying his best to save everybody.
Yeah.
And if that were me, I wouldn't stop myself either.
Yeah. It's only Miguel just terrifying and just trying to pry it open. You're like, stop being scary, please, I'm begging you. He's just a boy wanting to go home and save his daddy. I like the scene when he escapes and he just destroys the equipment and just turns around. It's like, explain why. And you're like, take it easy. And Gwen, Jesus Christ, she's new here too.
Yeah, and then now she's out of like the Spider League.
Yeah. Sends her home, and like, he gets Ben Reilly and Spider-Woman to come with him to Miles' universe, while Gwen has a heart-to-heart with her dad of like, I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I was wearing the mask the same reason why you wear the badge. Now I don't even know what's right or what's wrong, what to do anymore. And her dad's like, you do. You always have. And like, I know you find your way through this. And like, I forgot what he says next. It's the equivalent of Miles' dad being like, there's something special with you. I just know it. You have to find that spark again. And I know you will. And like, you see how beautiful the watercolor is, and you're like, I can't tell if I'm distracted by the color or the lines, but I'm distracted by both. My fucking ADHD brain is just going like, what? Everything
it was a beautiful moment, though. It was nice.
Everything's so beautifully said and beautifully drawn. I can't even concentrate. It doesn't matter, which is fine.
Yeah, but Hobie like left a package for her, which was another interdimensional spider device thing.
Yeah, and then we get the plot twist of the movie where Miles thinks he's back home. He tells his mom like, "I'm Spider-Man. I've been Spider-Man this whole time." She's like, "Okay."
Who's Spider-Man?
Who? Like,
is that one of your other comic
cosplay
Comic-Con things? And all of us, I think everyone, like at the same time with Miles, we're all like, "There's something off."
Yeah.
One, his jacket's not supposed to be purple. Two, why is the coloration so much darker?
Yeah, and you're like, if she was just fucking with him, why is she going? Why is she going so hard with his joke? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I really thought it was gonna be those scenes where, cause like you see his like suit peeking up. Right?
Yeah, I thought she was being like, I knew this whole entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like she would like be shocked because she sees the suit peeking out or some shit like that. But no. Turns out the thing did bring him home because it read his DNA. It brought him home to where the interdimensional spider came from.
Yeah.
Not Miles.
Which means that his Uncle Aaron is still alive, who's again voiced by Mahershala Ali, and you're like, oh shit, if you're alive and you're with Miles' mom, and then they go outside and you see the mural, you're like, oh shit, that's bad.
And you see New York is just in shambles, and you're like, this is a world without Spider-Man.
Yeah. And then in my mind I was like, so if Miles is normal in this universe, and Uncle Aaron's alive and his dad died, does that mean he? And then you see a smaller prowler pop up. You're like, I think I know my answer's coming up.
Yeah. Oh, shit. This is so fucking good because I was like, the whole fucking time I'm like, oh shit! Like he's strapped to the boxing, the punching bag.
Yeah.
And then they introduce Miles Prowler.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so fucking. And
Yeah.
also, Purple Jordan's fucking sick.
Shamik Moore's acting when he's Miles Morales, he's like, I'm the Prowler now. Why should I let you go? You're like, Jesus Christ, you're terrifying. As an alternate version of you.
Yeah, and then like everybody, like even Gwen, Miguel, were like.
Do you like how Gwen just took care of Ben Riley like that? He's like, I found a disturbance. There's another. Oh fuck! And you're like, oh, that's easy.
Yeah, and like her like coming out of like Miles's room, kind of sketchy. Like yeah.
I don't know where Miles
that was
is.
a funny
You're like,
scene.
you're in this room, you don't know where he is. That is sus. Like if I'm a police captain, like, did you kidnap our boy? And you're hiding him somewhere?
Yeah, and then she formed her own team with Spider-Ham, Spider Noir,
Nicolas
Parker.
Cage coming back for the last
Yeah.
one. You're like, fuck yeah. I like
Yeah,
how
so she's- Yeah.
Mary Jane's like, did you take our baby on another mission? And he's like, no, I swear, I wouldn't do anything that dangerous. And then like moments after, you just see Gwen being like, come on, let's go. And he's like, all right, fine.
Alright. But this seems like, oh, cool. They're gonna wait a minute. It's already been 2 hours. What the fuck? And then we get the reveal of like, yeah, again, Miles Prowler. And then it's just like a standoff between them. Like,
Yeah.
get them eye to eye to each other, and then the movie fucking ends.
Oh no, before that, you see the parents looking out in the distance and you see something open and something drop. And you're like, oh, that's bad news.
Yeah,
And
so
it's-
there's just so much problems
As
happening.
you said, like, it's been 2 hours and something minutes. Well, how are you going to solve this?
Yeah, all of my friends were just like, "What?"
You know what? I think this is kind of worse than the Infinity War cliffhanger, because you're like, they're not going to kill Spider-Man. No way.
Yeah,
We all knew, like, here's
I
a
thought-
sequel anyway. Here, you're like, are any of them coming out of this alive?
I don't know, but we get hit with the song "Am I Dreaming," and I'm like,
Fits perfectly.
yeah, it fits perfectly. But at the same time, we just left in the theater, just like, I need it to be 2024 now.
I want it
I want to know
now.
what happens next. All of us were so pissed off, but at the same time fulfilled.
Oh, man.
Such a good movie. That's a good movie.
Such an incredibly good movie, and like, even though it ends in a cliffhanger, just like, I am thoroughly satisfied.
Same here. Same here.
I'm currently hunting for a Miguel O'Hara figure somewhere in Shopee.
My friends are hunting for a Miguel O'Hara body. All of them are doing back now. Like you see it on TikTok. I love the memes that's coming out of the Spider-Man movie because like, oh, my girl cheated on me, and you find out it was a canon event, and then you're all fine.
Also, before we give a rating, I forgot Miguel O'Hara was half vampire, so when he almost bites the vulture, like, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that part of him. Jesus.
Yeah.
Ah,
Oh, it's such a good fucking movie.
yeah.
And the memes coming out of it is so good too.
Yeah. That being said, what would you rate Across the Spider-Verse?
No, I gotta be fair. It has to know its place, and its place has to be at the top. 10 out of 10. I got no problems with this movie. It wasn't long. It's a long movie, but you don't feel it being long.
Yeah. But
Everybody did a great job. The cliffhanger made me want more.
by the time
So fucking
you
good.
hit the 2-hour 20 mark, you're like, no, it's not. What do you mean?
Yeah, same here. I was like, wait a minute. I had to look at my watch because I was like, it's already 2 hours? The problem hasn't been solved yet to be continued. Oh my god. Yeah. Seeing all the Spider-Man and all the homages to like old Spider-Man, new Spider-Man, stuff that we saw in our childhood. It was great. So at some points I kind of teared up when I saw Ultimate Spider-Man. I was like, I'll watch this thing every week. Every time I would come back from school.
Uh, you know what? I have to agree. Like, I really thought of like, what don't I like? Do I
Yeah,
not like the villain? It's not really. I get where Miguel is coming from. Like, again, it's one of the villains of like, you don't agree with him, but like, at the same time, you get why he's like, I'm trying to save the entire universe. Yeah, it means sacrificing a life versus trillions. It's literally the, what do you call it? The few versus the many, and the many always have to win. Forget what the
yeah,
saying is in Star Trek, but like you get where he's coming from, and the spot like from just a throwaway villain, like it feels like something that comes from the Flash. If Spider-Man had like a weekly show of like, oh, you're a nothing threat, to like, oh, he is the Thanos, the fucking doom dark side of this universe. Apparently, I never knew. Jesus Christ.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
He became a like a Avengers level threat.
yeah, more than Avengers. It's gonna take like all the rosters like X-Men, Fantastic Four. Like, please, we need all your help.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Beautiful animation, great storytelling. Again, hits the emotional beats just as hard, if not harder, than the last one. So I'll have to give it a 10 out of 10. I know we sometimes give it easily, but like I feel like this movie earns it, honestly. Because
yeah.
I really can't think of any
Uh,
faults. Like, I really went through it in my head. I was like, do I not like this? Not really. I like everything about it.
mm,
So in my mind, it's close to perfection as it possibly be, and like it's already in talks for like best animated movie of the year for like
yeah,
Oscars. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if it won that.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, also a little bit of a shout out. Um, my cousin worked on this movie. He did the textures, so I see you, cuz.
yeah, I saw his name in the credits. I was like, son of a bitch. I knew
Yeah, it was
that.
my last name. I was like, hey.
Well, obviously, you guys will just have to figure it out because I'm not going to dox my co-host, and he's not going to dox himself. Uh, yeah. But yeah, that's my video for Across the Spider-Verse. What do you guys think? Is it your favorite Spider-Man movie? I wouldn't blame you if it was, because it is
I
peak,
agree. Yeah.
peak superhero movie, or like platinum level. What if it's not? What is your favorite Spider-Man movie? Is it the original Tobey Spider-Man? Is it Into the Spider-Verse, Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield? Whatever it is, comment below. You can find more of us here on YouTube by liking, subscribing, and dinging the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. TikTok to see our best and funniest moments. Spotify to hear us on the go. In the video, you can find me at Gandalfus1995 on Twitter. How about you?
Or you can find me at JomGOM _ on Instagram. That is my account.
And for the next video, we are jumping into another universe ourselves. So until then, bye.
Chat.